And we could white peace with them and keep what we have and restart this war a little bit later, but in the immortal words of Bob Barker,
"You want a piece of me? I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing!"
Hello everybody, my name is YujimboXD and welcome to the channel. Or should I say, Ni Hao, Wo Di Ming Xing Shi, YujimboXD, Huan Ying Lai Down Gai, Ping Dao. Yes, because today I'm turning into Mr. International and trying to appeal to a broader Chinese market. And I will just choose to ignore the fact that YouTube has been banned in China for the last 15 years. But I won't let a thing like that stop me. I'll become an underground hit on the Chinese black market. But what the heck am I even talking about? Well, as you may have noticed, we are back with more Hearts of Iron 4 today, and we have more mods. And today we have Azur Lane, the highest rated Chinese total conversion mod for Hearts of Iron. And what the heck is an Azur Lane, you might ask? Well, the short answer is it's a Chinese mobile game based around anime girls and World War II battleships. The long answer is a little more complicated. I'm not a big anime guy, but there's a trend that I noticed a few years ago where anime girls were being anthropomorphized as World War II vehicles or equipments. Weird stuff like tank girls. And I guess this strange trend has continued into battleships. And somebody in China went ahead and made a mobile game where you play as these anime battleship girls where you fight other anime battleship girls and occasionally actual battleships. And then some other madman decided to make a mod based on it for Hearts of Iron 4. But just to be clear, somebody in China's censorship department had to sign off on this game. So that means they find these things perfectly acceptable and these things are an affront to the party. I know this all sounds very confusing, so I wanted to try this game first for myself to see what this mod was based on, to figure out what the heck this was all about. So I present to you what they think the Battle of Pearl Harbor looks like. And if you can believe it, this game was 16 gigs to download. I don't know how much Chinese spyware it put on my phone, but I can tell you that all my Google ads now look like this. And these kinds of games have always baffled me. It's like the designer of these was both horny and had a desire to go to war, which I totally get. Those are basically the only two emotions I ever have, but you really do need to pick a lane or you get both with mixed results. Now, while I could do this with the English setting on and it would make my life a little bit easier as the descriptions would all be in English, I decided to play this the way the communist man who made this intended for me to play this. So we'll play it with simplified Chinese on, and we will translate it using Google Translate because there's no English version of this mod, and I wouldn't want to miss out on any of the lore or getting to know these characters' personalities. I'll probably do it on the PC for most of this so you can see what I'm doing at the same time, but occasionally I will have to hold my phone up to the screen like it's the world's worst decoder puzzle just to see what the hell's going on. So the weirdness for this mod starts right at the mod page. There's actually two mods out there for this exact mod made by the same guy, and they're exactly the same except for the scenario. So I have no idea why they made it as two separate mods and not one mod with two scenarios. But we are playing Azur Lane, the Scourge of Cyprus, which I believe is the second one they put out, which is the more popular version. And as far as I could tell, I'm the first English-speaking YouTuber to ever try something like this. So this is all still a bit experimental. But with all that explanation out of the way, let's get into it and unlock the mysteries of the East and see if the Chinese modders have been holding out on us. So this is a universe where, I guess, sirens, the mythical creature, have taken over most of the earth and all the other anime girls have been relegated to islands. So that's our very simple plot. And here are our star players. Plenty of waifu material to choose from. But we are going to play as Ship Girl herself, or as she's also known, the USS Enterprise. So let us boldly go where no man has gone before. Although who am I kidding? These ladies are all sailors. I'm sure they've boldly gone plenty of times before. All right, we have Iron Man mode off and historical AI focus on, and let's get into it. All right, so here we are in Cuba. We have our usual blurb from the devs. This just has instructions on how to do everything, but I did my homework ahead of time, so we won't have to waste too much time looking at this. I will explain everything as we go. But the quick lore, like I said, is this is a world where the sirens have taken over. Yeah, as you can see, they control pretty much the entire world, and they're all in a faction with each each other. And the survivors are all hanging out on islands. So we got a few in the Mediterranean, we got Ireland, got a few near Denmark. So we'll all have to form our own anime-style Avengers and take down the baddies. But we are the American facsimile, which I'm sure we consulted Cuba before resettling it. Let's take a look at the focus tree. This may not tell you much, but pretty much your standard focus tree. We have your political ideologies you can go down. You have your military things you can do. The political things just give you bonuses in most cases. And the left-hand tree is where the action will take place. So if you were actually playing this in English, you would have the basic descriptions that would tell you what these do, but I've decided to punish myself by translating everything as I go along. And making things even more difficult, this mod has a ton of different decisions you can do. So the main idea here is these buttons here will start a war anytime I want with the major factions, and I can end that war with a white piece and keep any territory I claimed at pretty much any time. That's basically one of the core features of how this mod works. But it wouldn't be a gacha game if it didn't have loot boxes, and they have that too. So they have their own in-game store with purchasable items. It could give you equipment, resources, buffs, all sorts of things. And we can make money by selling army XP or research slots, political power, or command points. And we have a few other kinds of currency that we can also use to buy really powerful buffs. This little anime mod unironically has a lot of cool features. So because we can trigger the wars whenever we want, it really won't matter which political focus we go down. So I'm just going to go with the one that has the most buttons to click in it. And we'll mostly just be sitting around for a bit, waiting for our opportunity to strike. I'd like to start with America, but they also control Europe as well. So I'm hoping some of my allies over there start a war and distract them, and then I can hop over and snipe America. And as you can see, we have quite the plethora of generals to choose from, and they even each have their own unique traits depending on which kind of battleship they are. Completely normal sentence. So for our first focus, I think we'll just steal a bunch of islands. We were sick of going to the Cuban beaches, and we want to go to the Leeward Island beaches. How exotic. And we don't have a lot of factories, so we might as well make use of the ones we do and create a spy agency. We'll create the Secret Intelligence Military Police, or SIMP for short. They smell like Doritos and somehow know your home address. We have only a small army to start, basically no equipment, but we did still keep our navy. But we must have gotten drunk and pushed all of our planes overboard, because none of our carriers have planes. I've gotten absolutely pummeled with pop-ups, but these are just achievements. But one of our generals is having an identity crisis and wants to know which ship she should identify as. She looks like a destroyer to me. So this mod does have its own events too, and this is just letting us know that our allies are changing leaders. Because yes, in a democracy, you have a choice of which anime waifu's in charge of you. And it looks like all the girls have pooled their money together and gave us a bit of a donation. So we can use that money to buy firearms that we desperately need. And a loot box while we're at it. I can't help myself. And I guess we got a magic cat that increased our stability and war support by a little bit. What about this cat is making people bloodthirsty? There we go, got some new islands. Now to get some free material, I think. Well, if you ever wanted a mod that will give you the day-to-day life of anime girls, then this may be the mod for you. As for me, I'll stick with the deep Equestriate war lore, like a real man. And it looks like we have our first major decision of the game, and it's to decide who we want as our president. But Tata Drive is right. I'll stick with our girl, the Enterprise. I'm just trying to decipher which one of these advisors will give us the best stats. I'm basically just trying to farm as much XP as I can, so I can sell the XP to buy a crap ton of equipment. Oh, and it looks like we have our first war of the night. Japan is having a go at the Asian faction, and it looks like the Russian faction wants to join that war as well. Interestingly enough, declaring war on one of these faction members doesn't declare war on the whole of them. Good to know. Ooh, we got another round of donations. Time to go shopping! And it looks like one of my allies had to peace out with the sirens. But you're allowed to do that willy-nilly in this mod. You can take chunks out of them at a time if you wish. And then say, law, just kidding, let me keep all the land, but actually I'm gonna restart this war in 3 years. And that's what our allies have been up to. And we're gonna get in on some of that action soon enough. We're just getting our final ducks in a row. And it looks like our allies, Great Britain, have gone to war. I think this is the opportunity we've been waiting for. Oh, and I just noticed we're missing a faction member. It looks like the French that were in Sardinia got puppeted. God, I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that. But that's alright, I don't need them. I'm a strong independent woman who don't need no faction. I can take on this little anime squid girl all by myself. But there is is one last thing I do need to finish first. I need to do this focus, which will allow me to take the Panama Canal. But I can't stop them from getting into the entirety of the West Coast, but I can at least block them in the east. All right, we finished the focus, and as promised, we got the Panama Canal. All right, we got the Navy in position, and I think we're ready to strike. But first, some quick loot boxes. Yep, same cat again, and one more. Dang it, we got the same thing 3 times in a row. I'm starting to think these loot boxes are a scam. Now, I just have to remember which one of these buttons it is. I think it was this one. Nope, let's try that again. There we go, second time's a charm. So let's see if we can make our landing in Florida. I'm sure the girls would love a trip to Disneyland. Oh no, they captured one of my spies. Well, let's get her back. No waifu left behind. And there we go, made our landing unopposed in Florida. And it looks like they even left us some troops to encircle. Oh, by the way, did I mention that they have custom models for their units? Yeah, I don't know if that was necessary, but they did it anyways. But while their troops are gone, let's spread out and take as much room as we can. Let's make America anime again. That's interesting. Even the mod knows we landed in Miami unopposed. Haha, you thought I'd go for the southernmost point in Florida, but I'm not interested in just the tip. And it looks like I was also given 3 tank divisions for free. How generous of them. There we go. I've been slapping around their naval convoys for a while, but it's good to actually get some real kills on the board. Ooh, and I even got a carrier. Haven't gotten one of those in a while. And one of our scientists are offering us a research bonus into new technology. I don't know what a land dragon cannon is or an improved starbreaker cannon is, but that sounds badass and I want one. I am completely out of oil, so I am desperate to get to Texas. So I'm just trying to rush and encircle as many troops as I can. I was wondering where all that naval XP suddenly came from, and yeah, I had a gigantic battle, it seems. Just a casual 56 destroyer sunk. Oh, and I got a bunch more over there too. Dang, and that jumped her up 4 ranks. Well, you know what that means. Time to offload this XP and buy some guns, because we're starting to run out. And apparently one of the ship girls wandered into a KFC and triggered a defense mechanism in Kentucky and spawned a bunch of troops. Although they didn't spawn in Kentucky, they spawned in Missouri. Probably because I fully control Kentucky already. That or these Chinese modders just don't know where Kentucky is. Well, since we finally met some resistance, let's go ahead and use their cipher that we captured a while ago. And we could white peace with them and keep what we have and restart this war a little bit later. But in the immortal words of Bob Barker,
You want a piece of me? I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
and recaptured Washington. Mommy's home. All right, we're making significant progress now. We have a bunch more military factories we stole off them, and we have a bunch more manpower because these focuses over here gave us cores on all of America. I love when the AI scrambles to cover a huge front like this, how easy it is to encircle them. And the news reports are circulating around the world that we are kicking a ton of ass in North America. Do like the qualifier, basically liberated. You're like mostly there. Just a few more corpses to add to the pile. Let's check the KDR. Yeah, between the constant encirclements and convoys getting blown up, they are getting completely shellacked. Ah, give me that sweet Texas tea. And we'll send the girls on a road trip down Highway 1 in California. I'm so jelly. Wow, we must have landed a whale because that is one heck of a donation. And I will use it immediately to buy myself a bunch of equipment. But we also have enough that we can do some gambling. Come on, big money loot box. Hey, first try. And despite its German appearance, it's ultimately disappointing. It just either gives us some political power or XP. And there we go. We got like 30 divisions trapped in the Canadian Arctic. And it looks like they're quickly running out of poutine and Tim Hortons. And I just need Alaska now, but this is an absolute no supply hell. So I'm trying to spam out as many supply hubs as I can. There we go. Tough little buggers, but we'll use their cipher and crush the last of the resistance in Anchorage. Jeez, and there we go. The last pocket of North America is down. I have never invaded Alaska before, and I never want to do it again. And with the press of this button, this should end the war. That didn't work. I guess this also requires my ally to agree to the ceasefire, and I guess they said no because the war's still ongoing, because they seem to be a bit busy doing a complete botch job of an invasion of England. So I think we'll just go back to our American isolationist policy. Tentacle Girl is now your problem. So, final thoughts on the mod. I actually really enjoyed this, and for an idea I had for a very long time that I held off on doing because I was worried it would either be too too difficult or too messy to do. I actually thought this went quite well. So if you have the patience for it, I would highly recommend you go ahead and play this mod. But if you don't care about the lore, just play it in English. It will be a lot easier on you. You don't have to do it the hard way like I did, but I think it was totally worth it to get the lore. So like I said, despite all its weirdness, it had a lot of charm. So if there are any other games or anything you would like to see, let me know down in the comments below, or you could join the community Discord and drop me a line there. All right, that is where we'll leave it off. So have a great night, everyone.
And remember to stay kawaii.